The first thing I noticed about her was that she didn't blink. Not when the blast doors hissed open. Not when the guards shoved me forward with rifles pressed into my spine. Not even when I spat blood onto the polished black floor of the hangar. She stood at the center of the chamber like a statue carved from war itself, tall, armored, and utterly still. Her skin was the pale blue-gray of storm clouds before lightning. Faint bioluminescent lines traced her neck and arms, pulsing slowly like a second heartbeat. Her eyes, golden, slit-pupiled, inhuman, were fixed on me with a calm that felt far more dangerous than rage. This was Karzai of the Draxian Dominion, the alien warrior queen, the butcher of 12 systems, the being whose name was whispered across the galaxy as a synonym for extinction. And I had asked to see her for one reason:
to die.
Human prisoner designation 741. One of the guards barked. You have been granted an audience. Speak quickly. I laughed. A broken, rasping sound. That's ironic. I don't plan on speaking long. The guards forced me to my knees. My restraints bit into my wrists, raw metal against skin that hadn't healed properly in weeks. I looked up at her, meeting those golden eyes, and for the first time since the war began, I felt something close to peace. You're Karzai, I said, the warrior who never shows mercy. She tilted her head slightly. Your language is inefficient but accurate. Good. I swallowed, steadying my breath. Then this will be simple. The chamber fell silent. Even the guard shifted uneasily. I want you to kill me. For the first time, she blinked, not in surprise, not in anger, in consideration. Explain, she said. I exhaled slowly. I'm done. My planet is ash. My family is dead. I fought your dominion for 4 years, watched everyone I cared about die one by one. I survived when I shouldn't have. And now I'm here. I looked down at my shaking hands. I don't want redemption. I don't want mercy. I don't want to be studied or enslaved. I met her gaze again. I want a clean end. From someone who understands war. The guards tensed. One of them raised his weapon, but Karzai lifted a single finger. They froze instantly. She descended the dais, each step slow and deliberate. Her armor shifted with a soft hum, alien metal adjusting to her movement. When she stopped in front of me, I realized she was even taller up close, nearly 7 feet, built like a living weapon. She crouched so we were eye to eye. Your species is curious, she said. You wage war with unmatched ferocity, yet you ask for death when the war is done. I shrugged weakly. I don't have anything left to fight for. Silence stretched between us. Then she stood. No, Karzai said. The word hit harder than any blow. No. I echoed. You've exterminated entire civilizations. Yes. You've killed children. Yes. And you won't kill me? She turned away, signaling to the guards. Remove him. He will live. Panic flared in my chest. Wait. The guards yanked me to my feet, dragging me backward. This wasn't part of the deal. I shouted. You don't get to decide that. Karzai stopped at the edge of the hangar, without turning. I have already decided, she said calmly. And I do not make decisions lightly. They didn't execute me. They didn't torture me either. Instead, they placed me in a small observation chamber overlooking the training decks of the Draxian flagship. Transparent alloy walls revealed warriors sparring below. Brutal, precise combat that ended only when one fighter could no longer stand. Days passed. Then weeks. Food was delivered. Medical drones treated my wounds without ceremony. No one spoke to me, except her. She came without warning one cycle, entering my chamber alone. No guards. No weapons drawn. You requested death, she said. But you have not attempted to take your own. I scoffed. You've got me locked in a glass box. And yet, she replied, humans are inventive. I looked away. What do you want? To understand, she said. She sat across from me, folding her long legs with unsettling grace. Among my people, requesting death is an act of honor. It is done when one believes their purpose is fulfilled. Lucky you, I muttered. Humans aren't that neat. Then why ask me? I hesitated. No one had asked me that before. Because you're honest, I said finally. You don't pretend killing is anything other than killing. I didn't want comforting lies. She studied me for a long moment. You believe death will end your suffering. I know it will. You are incorrect. I laughed bitterly. You don't know what it's like to be human. No, she agreed. But I know what it is to survive when one wishes not to. That made me look at her. She rose and walked to the transparent wall, watching her warriors train. Before I became Karzai, I was designated lesserborn. Weak. Unfit for command. My brood was culled for genetic inefficiency. I frowned. You're saying your family was killed? Yes. You didn't ask someone to kill you? I tried, she said simply. My superior refused. I stared at her. Why? Because he said my pain had not yet taught me what it was meant to. Anger flared in my chest. That's cruel. Yes, she said. And necessary. She turned back to me. Pain is not the end of the story, human. It is the forge. They made me work after that. Not as a slave. As an assistant. I was assigned to logistics, tracking supplies, optimizing human tech integration for captured colonies. I hated it at first. Every data point felt like betrayal. But then I started noticing something strange. The Draxians weren't mindless monsters. They valued efficiency, order, survival above all else. And Karzai, she was changing things. She reduced unnecessary civilian casualties, instituted evacuation corridors, punished commanders who disobeyed. I confronted her one day in the command chamber. Why are you doing this? Because annihilation breeds endless resistance, she said. And because you were correct. About what? Killing without understanding is wasteful. I laughed. So I guilt-tripped the galaxy's worst warlord into becoming ethical? She considered that. Perhaps. Time passed. Months. Then a year. The nightmares didn't stop, but they softened. I started sleeping. Started talking to others. Started feeling something other than numbness. One cycle, during a quiet watch shift, she stood beside me at the viewport, staring into the stars. You no longer ask for death, she observed. No, I said. I don't. She nodded once. Good. Why did you really refuse? I asked softly. She turned to me, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Because you asked me to end your story when it was not yet finished. I swallowed. And if I ask again? She placed a hand on my shoulder, warm, solid, real. Then I will sit with you until the desire passes. For the first time, I believed her. The war didn't end quickly. Nothing ever does. But when it finally did, it ended differently than anyone expected. Not in total domination, but in an uneasy, fragile peace. Karzai stood before the Galactic Assembly, not as an executioner, but as a commander who had learned restraint. And I stood beside her, not as a prisoner, but as a witness. I had asked the alien warrior to kill me. She refused. And in doing so, she gave me something far more dangerous than death. A reason to live. The galaxy did not forgive quickly. Peace never arrives with applause, only with suspicion. Even after the treaties were signed, Even after the Draxian fleets withdrew from human space, the scars remained carved into star charts and memory alike. Entire systems were still uninhabitable. Billions were dead. No words spoken by any species could undo that. And yet there we stood, Karzai of the Draxian Dominion, once the galaxy's most feared executioner, stood unmoving before the assembled representatives. Her armor was ceremonial now, less jagged, less aggressive, but no less unmistakable.
She did not bow.
She did not apologize. She waited. When her turn came to speak, the chamber fell into absolute silence. "We did not come to ask for forgiveness," she said. "We came to offer accountability." Murmurs rippled through the delegates. She continued. "The Dominion was built on survival through conquest. That doctrine nearly destroyed us as surely as it destroyed others. We will dismantle it."
Gasps.
I felt my breath catch. "The Draxian military will disband its expansion fleets," she said. "Our remaining forces will serve only in defense or reconstruction, under joint oversight." No one had expected this. Not from her. She turned slightly, her gaze flicking toward me. "Just for a moment. I learned," she said, "from a human who asked me to end his life." Every eye in the chamber snapped to me. "He believed suffering meant his story was finished," she continued. "He was wrong. I was wrong to believe conquest defined strength." Her voice did not waver. "Strength is restraint. Strength is endurance. Strength is choosing not to kill when killing is easy." The chamber was silent for a long time. Then slowly, someone began to clap. Others followed. Not loudly, not enthusiastically, but enough. Enough to mean something had shifted. Later, aboard the flagship that was no longer a warship, I stood alone in the observation deck, staring out at a stretch of stars that had once been a battlefield. Karzai joined me quietly. "The Assembly has agreed to provisional peace," she said. "Conditional. Monitored." "That's better than anyone expected," I replied. "Yes." She stood beside me, her posture relaxed in a way I never would have believed possible when we first met. "You could leave," she said. "You are no longer bound here." I thought about that. Earth, or what remained of it, was being rebuilt. Slowly. Painfully. There were people there who might need me. Ghosts I hadn't yet faced. "And you?" I asked. "I will remain," she said. "My people require rebuilding as well. They must learn what they are without endless war." I nodded. Silence settled between us, comfortable and familiar. "You know," I said quietly, "I used to think surviving when others didn't was a kind of punishment." She looked at me. "And now?" "Now I think it's a responsibility." Her eyes softened, a rare thing. "You have learned what your pain was meant to teach," she said. I exhaled slowly. "I couldn't have done it alone." "No," she agreed. "Nor could I." She extended her hand, not as a warrior, not as a commander, but as something else entirely. A companion. I took it. Years later, history would argue over who truly ended the war. Some would say it was treaties. Others would claim it was exhaustion. But a few historians would record something quieter. That the war ended the moment an alien warrior refused to kill a broken human, not out of mercy, but out of understanding. And that refusal changed the fate of 2 species. I had once asked her to end my life. She refused. Because endings, I learned, are not something you ask for. They are something you earn by choosing to keep going. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts.